Welcome to my podcast, My Journey by Lebo Keswa. Thank you so much for the love and support, guys. You know, everything that has happened in the past month has really blown my mind, has blown the minds of my team. We actually cannot believe that we are here, and with your love and support, this podcast has become the success that it has become. Today in studio, I've got my publicist, my PR manager, Pearl Mbewe Maake Ka Ncube. Her life is just, kuningi guys, kuningi. Like, she's been in the papers for all the wrong reasons. It's sad actually watching what is happening to her, given the type of work that she does for other people, because she makes everyone else look good in the media. She's a spin doctor, she's a PR manager for well-known artists, for politicians, for corporates, for parastatals, you name it, she does it all for everyone else. To see her in such a bad light has really been very distasteful. Pearl, welcome to My Journey by Lebo Keswa. I want everything.
Okay, honey.
Here we speak the truth. So you are here to speak your truth.
Thank you so much for having me here. And it's so weird because I'm sitting in front of you and I'm used to sitting behind you.
I love it. I love it for me.
And you know, when you make mistakes with people that you invite, I'm always like, don't do that. And I write notes. Now I'm sitting here, I'm not even sure who's going to write the notes at the back to say, Pearl, don't say this, Lebo, don't say this. But it is what it is. Thank you so much for having me.
You keep on saying cut.
Yes.
Let's proceed.
And now
cut.
I can say
Let's proceed.
Cut because I have to be like, and I have a certain language of saying, guys, cut. I'm good.
I love
but
this
thank
for
you
us.
so much. Thank you. You know, we've had this journey where people criticized us. I've had people who said to me, we hope that working with her does not take you down with her. And I've responded and said, taking her down to what? Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Who knows what our journey is?
I
you
know
what I'm
everything
saying?
that you've been going through.
Your
because
journey
of me.
is my journey because I'm walking the journey with you.
Sure.
So I'm not really troubled about a lot of things that may happen right now in the spheres or the bigger scheme of life, right? Yeah. I'm here as your publicist, not necessarily sitting on this hot seat, right?
Yeah.
But our journey is literally just trying to make sure that we get to where we're supposed to be, and by God's glory, we're going to make it, because it's not necessarily our plan, it's God's plan.
Awesomeness, man. So, sure. Yeah. Kuningi. I don't even know where to start. Kuningi. Hey, Sunday World has written. City Press has written. Sunday Times has written. Times Live has written. Briefly News has written. You even appeared in this thing, King. Go see whatever. Yako Instagram. Kuning. But, you know, I just want to know, who is Pearl Mbewe Maake Ka Ncube? Yay.
You are so naughty, I swear to God. I don't know how to drop a guy. You know, 7 years ago when I crossed path with you, I hope I should have just walked past you.
I'm very happy I
the
picked part
stress
of
you
my
have
life.
brought to my life. It's
The
insane.
drama.
The drama.
Yay.
But anyways, Pearl is a daughter to Macy Mbewe. I was raised by a single, very strong, independent woman. I am the first of my 3 siblings actually, and I'm a mother of 2 boys, and I'm just this thing that people know to be the woman that I am, right? I've got tenacity, right? I've got integrity.
I've seen it.
Thank you. So I go for let me not use the words kill, but I strive and I go whatever I want. I do not fail. I never give up on anything. And I've got my family on my shoulders. When my grandfather passed away, before he passed away, he said to me, tsela tshweu ngwana ngwanaka, you know. And he said to me, "Ke see this family with you." And I was 21 at the time. And ever since then, I've never looked back. I carry my family on my shoulders because my grandfather left me with that spirit. My grandfather used to buy 90 kg yapap because there were about 16 of us at home.
Yo.
Yeah. It was my mom, her siblings, and their children. So it was one of those things in a bedroom, baba marula kofatsi, babang in the dining room, and then there's my uncles, my aunts, they've got children as well and whatnot. But one thing I always remember is when I pray, I say to God, why are you leaving me in the darkness? Why are you allowing Satan to use me as his agent in a sense of I'm in the dark? My grandfather said to me, where is my light? What do I follow? You know, and that's what makes me, you know, people say black tax. I actually don't see it that way because my grandfather was my father because I didn't have a father. Oh, well, I've got a father, generically speaking and biologically speaking. But my grandfather used to come with I reckon 90 kg. Can you imagine when you have to buy 90 kgs?
Sure.
How many people are you feeding in that month? You know what I'm saying? So, and then
life for the whole month. Le papa, shabo
and then so that was that. I was raised by a family that's very, very humble, ne? But family structure and caring for one another is what kept us going through. I mean, when I was not in matric, because my mom and my family picked up something between my ears, right? And how not at my grandmother's house, there will be 3 baskets washing. And my mom would always be like, so there are times when I'm sitting there, everyone ke weekend, but also washing ba aina kuning. Can you imagine ironing washing any baskets that out? And I'm sitting there, and then I'm like, I'm not even reading. I'm like just sitting here because this book is saving me. You know? So that's my childhood, and I had a very beautiful upbringing, you know? And I was taught love by my grandmother, my grandfather, and it was always like, just go out there. You're going to be the one who actually takes this family to Jerusalem.
So
I accepted
that. Lovely. So, you know, Pearl, I just mentioned in opening this podcast that there's a lot that has happened in your life. There's been a lot of, more than anything else, a lot of negative publicity because we cannot run away from the fact that you are known in this country right now because of your marriage with your husband, who is a public figure. That's how you became popular. You've worked with a lot of artists. You've worked with a lot of high-profile people, but because the same way you just said, even in this podcast, you work behind the scenes. You've always worked behind the scenes, but you are known in this country. We know who Pearl is right now because of your relationship or your marriage, rather, with your husband. But outside of your marriage, there is Pearl behind those scenes. Behind these scenes, there is Pearl. Right? And your name might not have been out there because you chose not to be known. You've never sold your name as a high-profile person. You accepted that you work with high-profile people. You never even wanted them to put it out there who they are working with, right? But in the bigger frame of things, like you are a brand on your own. You are a brand. You might not have 2 million followers because you chose not to have 2 million followers, right? If you started selling yourself to say, these are the people that I'm working with, these are the names that I'm behind, this is the work that I'm doing, you could have chosen to go that route, but you didn't. So who is, outside of your childhood, your upbringing and whatever, who is Pearl Maake Ka Ncube? Who are you?
There was Pearl Mbewe before there was Pearl Maake Ka Ncube. You know, as I told you, Hore, I'm my mother's daughter. I'm a mother to my children. I'm my siblings' sister. I mean, I'm the first grandchild to my parents. To my grandparents, right? So that is who Pearl is. That is the core of who I am. The rest of everything else that we see, it's Pearl transforming to what the world is and just making sure that she gets everything right? But I'll tell you a beautiful story where when I was writing matric, or when I wrote matric, remember back in the days, the results used to come on a newspaper, and then when you've got a university entry, there will be like a star or a dot or something. So a week before the results came out, because we've got family in Lesotho, I asked my mom and I was like, please can I go to Lesotho, because I know I wouldn't be able to have access to the newspaper. And if anything, I was like hiding in Lesotho, because growing up, when I was going Nekileko Fort High School. So Fort High School, Mintech,
where is it?
It's in Dobsonville. So Mintech came and they were looking for 3 top students to put them through a scholarship and also teach us programming and just computer skills, because we're in school. Computers, I only knew how to switch on a computer. I definitely did not even know how to press anything, how to do anything, right? So Mintech took. So what Mintech did was they came to Soweto, right? And I think they chose about 10 schools, right? And they took the top 3 students. Luckily, I was one of those top 3 students. Not luckily, it's
so
my
you
brain.
appeared in the paper?
No, wait, I'm going to tell you. The paper was the last thing. Because the paper, you're not even sure if you're going to appear.
Sure.
you know? And then, so there were 30 of us from various schools and whatnot. So all of us used to compete because we are the top of the top in Soweto. So that program, I think, is the program that actually helped me boost my confidence, helped me realize, the world doesn't start here and it's not going to end here. If you keep the momentum going, you will get to a level that you never imagined, and your parents and my mom would actually realize that in her investing, because I like using the word invest, because my mom actually invested in me and her children. You know what I'm saying? So her return in investment is her seeing her children try and make something of their lives, So going back to who's Pearl?
Who's Pearl?
Pearl is my mother's child. Everything starts and ends there.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Pearl, there's also now I'm taking this back to all the reports that have been written about you. There's just so much happening in this country, in terms of what women are going through, abuse, rape. This country has got one of the highest femicide stats, GBV stats, abuse stats, whatever, and many other things So can you speak to that? I'm not asking you personally. I'm not asking you anything in relation to what you are going through in your relationship. But I just want to know, as a woman, how do you feel about that? And given the expertise that you've got, what is it that you are doing as a woman? We are going through 16 days of activism, by the way. What is it that you are doing as a woman to curb all of these things that are happening? But is there any assistance that you are giving to women? Is there anything that your company is doing, given the resources and the structures that you've got in place to assist women of this country?
Okay, so what I've been doing is, I think for the past, I did it, last year I didn't do it. I came up with a concept that's called Fathers and Sons in Conversation. where under the foundation I was working for.
Was it you or your husband?
Okay, don't make...
I wonder when you start saying fathers and sons. I'm talking about women here.
No, let me tell you. If you don't fix the male species, the female species suffer.
Awesome.
So that's why the whole concept, I came up with it to say,
Awesome.
fathers have to
I
speak
hear
with their
you.
sons to say, I may have been beating your mother, but you don't have to do and follow my example. It was a bad example. So that is actually the generation that comes after the generation that believe that beating women is the right thing to
hear
do.
you.
Speak with the boy children. Apart from that, I do events where people celebrate women, right? We bring in women who have been abused, psychologists, and whatever the case might be, you know? And people may not know this. Dr. Maschabashai, she's got a program called Widows Club. I actually came up with that concept, where she speaks with women to say, when a man passes on, or your husband, the family comes, they take everything because they say, or they assume it was their child's, their son's property and whatever the case might be. And in the black society, because a lot of people don't know that there is different options of getting married, all of them get married in community property because that's the only marriage type that they know. Do you know what I'm saying? And then apart from that, I actually have women who have been raped. You know, I help women who've got issues with certain things, and I can't disclose names, or whatever.
Of course.
But
of course
I you know, I'm pro women, right? But I'm also pro men who are good standing men in society. Okay, Laban. And what I try to do is I come up with different concepts depending on whatever the space that we may be in, right? So when we're doing 16 days of activism, I'm not going to be doing it just because we have to do something. It has to change the next person's life. Do you know what I'm saying? So if it doesn't have a purpose, I actually don't do things that don't have a purpose. So I've got women in my circle that I've helped with so many things, but I don't want to make this about me. But I do actually work with women who have been there and who have struggled. Some of them have actually come out of the dark space, you know. Some of them are still there, but it's a matter of saying, Pearl, you know what, I need help with this, and where I can, I assist. I'm not saying, Wuti, I am a superhero of some sort, but in my abilities to do certain things, I'm able to help and extend the assistance to sisters. And like I said, I've got 2 boys. So if I don't focus on making sure that men are actually leading as a perfect example, my own children will end up in the same trap, and the cycle will just be a vicious cycle that will never end.
Sure. Can you tell us more about your PR work? Like, what do you do? What do you do when you wake up in the morning, outside of you having to do press releases for me, get into trouble because I've now gone to the media, I've gone to podcasts, and I've said fuck, lies, this. What do you wake up and do? What do you do for your clients?
So, as much as you may want to believe you're my most difficult client, Mthandeni Gqokamilisha is actually my client, ne? And Mthandeni is a Maskandi artist. So you wake up at 6 in the morning to phone calls because he has posted a receipt of someone who paid him and no one knows what's happening, right?
Huh?
Like he will. You pay him 1 million, he will post it. And then there'll be other artists who got 500,000. And then all of them are like, now, how did he get 1 million? No one are getting out. And it's like, why did you post that? Why do you have the need to post that? You know? And so I'm trying to show you how diverse my work is, right? If there's a word like diverse, but diversity in terms of...
It is, yeah.
So my Scandi, they always have... there's competition, so there's red and white, and then there's blue and white. So I belong to the red and white, right? So I didn't know this when I started working. He was actually my first client that I had 6 years ago. I remember it was in April because 5 days later it was his birthday. And the bride had been asking me for 3 months, please can you manage Umtane? And I'm like, what do I know about Maskandi? Like, are you insane? Like, what am I gonna do, right? And then he's got another guy that they're in competition with called Okuzani or something. So I was in Durban one time, and this guy, I posted obviously waiting to go get into the boat, and then he posted my picture and said, I also have had a meeting with Pearl, and great projects are coming. And then these ones were Red Nation, backward deal. You should have seen me. So my work is insane.
It's a mess.
It's
a whole mess.
I mean, I fix people's messes. I know. Like, and it's like, oh, well, I fix people's mess. And then came you. Right. And I've been working you, right, dragging me into this
what would I be without you? We wouldn't be here. If it wasn't you, we would not be here. Look at us.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my ordinary day is just literally scanning the digital space and scanning overall businesses, because what I do for a living is I don't wait for companies to come and say, I want to book or use your client for a campaign. I actually approach companies and then I design the business model. Then I tell them this is how we can execute the campaign. So I'm not the type to knock on the doors to say, my client is famous, whatnot, we need this. I'm the one who comes to companies with the solution to say, this is what I have, this is who I have, and this is how we can do it. So that's how I practically do endorsement deals and brand management for my clients. And my everyday life is, I don't like waking up very early. I hate traffic. You know? So
I know what you mean. I can relate,
all
right?
my meetings are always after 11 unless really I'm pressed for something. But yeah, I enjoy what I do. And I'm very close with all the clients I work with, because I always say, if my soul doesn't feel you, I won't do justice to you. So I don't only just look at, if you come to me and say, I've got 5 million followers, I've got whatnot, I'll sit with you. Maybe have fermented grapes, you know, with you. Because that's how you get to know a person's real personality, you know, and then the rest is just that. But yeah, I'm very passionate about small businesses. I mean, my offices were based in Soweto because I'm very selfish and I'm not apologetic about it. I only work with black clients, right? It's for a reason, because they don't know what PR is. They don't know what brand management is. They just know they need a road manager, a manager, and then it's their ability to do whatever. If you act, you act. If you sing, you sing. But they don't know what keeps the brand and the momentum of your life going is these two important aspects. And not everyone can afford that. Everyone who does PR, they are on a retainer of 50,000 a month. They do brand management, is this and that, right? So what I choose to do is literally just to make sure that our black artists don't die poor, because there is this myth and everything else that black artists don't know how to manage money. But it's not that. They don't have accountants. They don't have a PR team. They don't have brand management team, because they don't think that is necessary, right? That's why all of them, at the end, SARS comes for them. But if you work with an artist or anyone in the creative space, even in business, you need to have an accountant that actually makes sure that your taxes are submitted and everything else is taken care of. So that's what I strive for. And all my artists that I work with, we've got an accountant that just makes sure that there isn't a comeback from SARS in any form or shape. But it's really sad, because, 95% of our artists don't even have that. Not that they don't have it, they can't afford it.
What do you mean they can't afford it? Because if SARS is coming to you claiming that they want 8 million, 5 million, it means at the time you can afford to pay SARS. So what do you mean they can afford it?
So what I'm trying to tell you is, remember, for you to have an accountant, every month you must pay them something. To have a PR, every month there's a retainer. To have a brand manager, every month you must have a retainer. So if you don't know what you are doing, because you must pay for, let's use musical artists. There's a road manager. There's wardrobe, right? And then there is your PA, or the person that takes your bookings. So everyone has a team. But artists don't actually see the necessity for teams. They would rather book their own gigs. That's why they lose a lot of gigs, because if you are your own PA, your own everything else, it actually degrades the work that you are thinking you are trying to do. So you can't afford that. it's not an easy thing because you need a team of at least minimum 5 people. Social media manager, road manager, your wardrobe manager. Then you need the actual manager that manages your bookings and everything else. Then you need a PR or brand manager. And then you are the 6th person. So artists are supposed to have these 6 components for them to actually strive and never. That's why Barabawele. Okay, when you've got such a powerful team, but make sure that everyone is qualified and they've got experience to do this. I always say to people that, sorry, have you seen how black media and black artists, they're so quick to write anything about black creatives? How many white artists and creatives do you see in the media every Sunday? It's always our black people. You know why? Because white journalists know that white artists depend on endorsement deals. But our black people, we will slice them down. We will cut the tree to the core in the name of just what? Selling newspapers, digitally selling everything. I will pay you for the next coming three months. Do research and analyze. Feasibility study. Check. How many white artists? When last did you see anything about a white artist who has done whatever? Was drunk, he fell down, or she fell down, she did this, whatnot. I'll pay you. That's how the media works. But it's because the other, and like, I want to make a disclaimer, right? I'm not racist. I just analyze the space. Our black people are going down because our journalists are always targeting them. That is what actually brings them down. Many of them will end up with their cards and asking for donations. Not because they're not good at what they do, not because they don't have talent or they've got nothing to offer. They do have everything to offer. But the other race is taken care of because they know they are not buffoons. We are working as buffoons, as black people, because that's what we know. Fight each other, pull it down, pull him down. As long as I'm sitting at the top floor, right, with the who's and who's, I just want to be alone. I wouldn't even give you access to the person that actually put me to the top of the whatever, the top floor. So that's how it works. That's how artists bow.
Okay, so now I really, really want to know what you do, because what you do it so well, right? I've been friends with your husband for years, right? And I've seen him struggle, right? I've done everything in my power to add value in his life, but I do not do what you do. Before you met with him, I watched him struggle. I watched him struggle. He was going through a lot. His brand, because of his ex-relationships, and as he put it, and as I believed him, as my friend, the women were pulling him down, people were dealing with his brand, he was just going through a lot, right? I've done everything in my power to be there for him. I tried everything to add value to his life, right? But I watched you get involved with this man, and I watched him evolve. I watched his brand take some people say 180-degree turn. I like calling it a 300. With this particular one, I watched his brand take a 360-degree turn. From the man that I knew him to be and where he was at the time and what happened with his brand when he was with you 6 months into your relationship before you guys got married, was just amazing. It boggled my mind. You changed his life. How did you do that?
I actually didn't have to do much because he's got a brand. The man has been in the industry for more than 40 years, maybe possibly going for 42 years now. Do you know? So it's the same principle, the same support that I told you. If you don't have a team, you are as good as nothing. So when I came into his life as his brand manager, his PR manager, his PA, his project manager, then eventually his wife. So he had a whole team in one person. So that's what happened. It's not like I worked magic to actually revive his brand, if that's the right word to use, you know. I looked at his brand and the positioning of his brand was not proper. So I had to actually look at his audience, who is listening to him, who cares about what he says. Then I did a business model like I told you. And it was a matter of saying, if you're here and you come back from there, how is it that the past did not build you to be greater than what you are right now, right? Let's dig and go back. And then come back with this, let's say audience, because I mean, he is an actor, a public figure. Where did you lose your following? How did you miss how to communicate with the people who have been walking this journey with you for the past 40 years? Then let's take that and then fix it, change it, and then who is my husband going forward for the next coming, let's say, 25, 30, 40 years, because, you know, no one can actually tell when all of us are going to leave this planet and whatever the case might be. But it always helps to make sure that you've got a plan. Strategy for 5 years, strategy for 10 and 15, and then the rest, where you begin is going to determine where you end. I always used to say to him, or still say, what is your end in mind? What is the goal? If you tell me your goal, I'll go back, generate it. Eventually we'll get to where you are. So that is how when you do what I do, it's not about the here and now. It's about the future. Sure. So that's when I came and I said to him, in 2 years' time, I'm going to retire you. Because I'll make sure that, I mean, when I met my husband, he was still doing auditions. And I said to him, how are you doing auditions?
I saw your WhatsApp status today about Denzel Washington, who said, I don't know, it's been 40 years that he does not audition for any part, and whatever, he gets called for it. So yeah, can you speak to that?
So people can actually write you into the script if they respect you.
Oh, well, you are making people write me into scripts, and I'm not an actor. I'm not an actress. I don't know what to do with myself because I cannot cram one sentence of a script. That's the only reason I'm going to have to turn them down. Unless they just put me there and I can say a whole me. How are you expecting me to read scripts? What am I going to do?
I know.
You put me into a deep mess. I'm not your husband. I'm not an actor. You did this. You did this. You did this. This is how all of this started. But I appreciate you for it.
Thank you. I appreciate you with all my heart and my soul.
Please speak to what you were saying. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Not a problem.
They're gonna tell me crap. Yeah, we can't hear the guest. Hello, na. Man. Yes, sis. This is my show. I sugar. Hey, who's interviewing who? It's my journey. Her journey is my journey. I can't man. Yes, sis.
Oh my God, like
I don't have you now flagging there to say no, calm down, don't say this.
Yeah,
There's no one here. There's no one here. The team is relying on you to do that, to say to me, Lebo, stop. But now I'm talking to you, no one is telling me to stop. It's my journey. It's my journey.
And
you are so prim and proper that time.
What do you
I
mean
like
prim and
you.
proper?
Bona, look at you.
I mean, I'm your friend. What do you mean? Like.
Anyway, yeah. I love you.
Where are we?
We are talking about how you make brands possible, how you made your husband's brand possible, because I did say to you earlier on, I've gone through some hardships with him. He was going through a lot of hardships
Okay, let
before
me
he
just
met you.
jump in quickly. We're talking about Denzel Washington, saying for the past 40 years, he's never had to audition. Yeah. When I met my husband 4 years ago, he was auditioning for roles. And I said to him, 40 years in this, which is maybe it's a coincidence of some sort that Denzel said 40. When I met him, he was auditioning for 40 years because when I met him, we actually did a campaign for him being in the industry for 4 decades. And we ran with that. That was the beginning of when I started working with him to say, let's bring your brand into people understanding that you are where you are and where do we take it to the next level. We had to start at the whatever ground level. Then I said to him, have people write you in the script. Have people have coffee with you. In South Africa, you can still audition. How many roles have you played that they think you can crack? He's done Khosi, King Coffee, what, or the tea, what. You've done
my
the villain, you've done. It's been 40 years. What vision of you that they think you can't be able to do, right? That they will have to direct you into doing. So any role that comes, just tell them I'll have coffee with you to understand what the script is, what the role is, and then I'll go into it. But having said that, I really don't want to make this interview about my husband.
Okay, the interview is not about your husband, it is about you. Okay, so you're very, very family oriented, right? Earlier on in the interview, you spoke about your grandfather, you spoke about your grandmother, you spoke about your kids, and you spoke about your upbringing, right? So you're very, very family oriented.
Extremely.
Right? But your marriage has been a mess in the media, right? But and we are not talking about your marriage, but your marriage has been a mess in the media, right? But I know you to be the mother that you say that you are, the child that you say that you are, a family-oriented person that you say that you are, a very good friend, and thank you for that. A very good friend. I haven't only watched you with myself, I've seen how you interact with your other friends, right? I hold a very, very special place in my heart for you, right? But now with everything, all the negative reports that have gone out, all the negative reports that are out there about your marriage, because I also know you to be a very centered wife. I've watched you with your husband. You guys met at my engagement party, right? I know how much you love your husband. So what do you have to say to couples out there, to people who are about to get married, to people who are in marriage, and to people who are going through a mess in their marriages, given the experiences that you have gone through? Because this is what this platform is all about. It's about speaking your truth. It's about healing. It's about giving solutions. It's about coming with solutions. Because even me sitting here now, after all the reports that I've seen about you and your husband, I want to say to you, do you want me to arrange a marriage counselor for you and your husband? How can I add value so that you and your husband are not in the mess that I'm seeing in the media, if it's true at all?
First of all, it takes special friends to intervene. And it takes people that you think care for them to try and say, don't lose this, don't end this. There's always maybe a possibility for rehabilitation and reconciliation. And my husband is a very good man, right? His soul is wonderful.
He's my friend. I've known him for years.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one thing I can tell you is this one I have to speak Kasotho because I work English.
You can speak any language. We've got 11 of. Can even do sign language right now.
Please. Ke motho a tsebang aibo.
Akere. There's everything.
Lebo, stop.
I'm sorry. Okay. Sign language.
Oh,
Sign
God.
language.
Oh,
Okay.
Lord. Okay.
Talk.
Okay, thank you. That's what this means.
Oh, really?
It's on the check.
Oh.
Then it's thank you. So, like I said, very loving, very well spoken. He addresses issues as they happen, and we hear that they say men don't talk, and then they end up doing certain things and whatnot. But not a bad, because there's always a negative thing that comes after bad, right?
But erases everything that you said before you said bad.
I mean, then the man reads scripts. He'll tell you 3 years ago when the car you said this and whatnot, and I'm like, how do you remember? I'm like, how do you remember that? And then sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I said. It's all good, because can I really remember what I said 3 years ago? But he will remember it, you know. But then the advice is, people always say communication. I don't think for you to actually get to the next level is communication only. Communication needs to be segmented, right? There is good communication, proper communication, horrible communication, toxic communication. So when people say communication, which segment of the communication are they talking about? Because let's say I go out with my partner or my husband. We drink wine, he drinks whiskey. We get home. And then something just sparks, right? Then we have to argue. Is that communication? When we wake up in the morning, all of us have not had anything to drink up, or we don't have stress because financial issues, the project we applied for did not come through. A project we applied for, we've been granted. The communication, that aspect, is beautiful. There's money coming in. The one where we lost the project, that's horrible. Not even horrible. That's bad communication, because I start blaming you. You gave me the points that I asked for. I've been applying for this thing. So the thing is, in my space, I can only speak for what I've gone through, or what I'm going through, because this is my first marriage, right? That's why my husband said to me, I must write a book called Marriage Pty Ltd, because we've got the personal space, we've got the business space. Then we have to actually just try and figure out, how do we not bring the business at home and not bring the personal at work. That's a fine line. Because one time he asked me, when do you separate? Oh, well, we've got a word that, words that we use. There's code blue and code red. Code blue is personal. Code red is when we're speaking business.
Does that also apply when you have sex? I used to have codes in my marriage when it comes to sex. We are not going this far, like code. Does it apply? Code red. Like Oskankena Kamodibono.
Lebo, you know what?
No, just come on, man. It's a question. We are adults here. Haibo,
I'm underage for that question.
That is hanyani.
Haibo.
You don't demand.
This Lebo, please.
Okay,
This
sorry.
is a
Let's go
matter.
back to the subject. Yes. Ngarnaldi sex codes. They will link shiny like a thing.
Haibo, I told you I'm underage for this question.
That is you. I like how you're blushing, by the way. Okay. I think there were sex codes, but anyway, I work at the code it's normal. Since about whole. Sorry for making you blush. Moving tissue there. I'll live out there.
I get okay. I'm good.
Ask kiss there also.
Yes. This girl.
What was shy with?
Don't So, code blue is the personal aspect, like I said.
Okay.
Code red is the business.
Yeah.
He's very good in code blue.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's how old is he now? 64.
Yeah.
So he's got wisdom. Later. So he's 64 years old. He's got wisdom, ne? Yeah. And he understands of which code blue. Yeah. He's been there, done that. I just walked in and I'm like, first marriage, first whatnot, first everything with him in terms of, do I buy pots? Don't I buy pots? Because I grew up in my mom's house for so long. Ne? When I bought my house, I actually had to rent it out because I literally don't know how to do this domesticated thing. Like I told you earlier on. I lost it all. Remember how not clean up hair so I used to study. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So I missed out on this whole but I cook very well though. I cook very well. That one I'll give myself. So there was one incident. We went to go do groceries. And then also the troll like so gets very list. So what's am I? He's in the aisles. So where do we find this? And he's like, what kind of a woman doesn't know which aisle is what? And I'm like, and he's like, so I can tell you literally do not do groceries. I'm like, how can simply the aisle is that thing? It's saying but like literally it was the like I mean what I do is I'll send my mom money. I mean, I know not that. No, I call it wisdom. And you know what the irony? My company's name is Wisdom Mobile Marketing Solutions. But let me tell you, it's not necessarily about the wisdom. It's about the fact that I'm a pearl of wisdom. Pearls of wisdom. Honestly, that's how my company, that's how I came up with the name.
You're doing very well for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. So he would say, you don't even know where the soap is. Which aisle is the meat? Which and then I'll walk behind him, get to the phone because I'm always working, right? Yeah. So I'm like, then on your mates, I'm like, and then I came to like some aisle is like, I'll be so embarrassed though. Right? I kid you not. I mean, but yeah, that is what it is. But on good days we're the best. You know, whatever tabloids are writing, whatnot. When we were in a good space, it was the best.
What advice would you give to people who are in marriages that are going through turmoil, that are going through challenges, that are going through a hard time?
What I would say is, in the beginning, you have to have an agreement, right? You have to say, we're never going to end this. Because if your end in mind is, I'm never going to leave you, whatever happens in between will never lead to you or to you guys leaving each other. But if you don't have that understanding that we may fight, we may do whatever, but divorcing or breaking up is not on the table. Everything else will always be sorted out. But as long as you never reach that point, that will actually make your marriage very healthy, because if you know you don't want to leave this man or this woman, you will always trade carefully. Everything will be with caution, because this is my life partner. I mean, Solo said to me one time, I found someone who's going to close my eyes. If you know that is the end in mind, and you've got a partner that has, I mean, some of us are very assertive.
Did he actually really say that?
Yeah, he did.
He copied my words because you guys were at my engagement, so he listened to exactly what I said to my ex-wife.
Let me speak on behalf of my husband. He actually said that when I met, we were at your engagement, so I can't say when we were sitting somewhere. Yeah. If it's your words, you don't have copyrights to them. So please, I shall speak on his behalf.
I can't sue. No, I can't sue both of you.
But also,
it's a beautiful statement to make to someone.
Exactly, right? And
it's an honor.
So, how let's say about it, that's the core. When I met him, by the way, I said to him, you're going to have to love me like your sibling. Because my family understands me, right? And they can never disown me.
That's a new one, okay.
Exactly. Okay. They will never disown me. So if you take me like your sibling, you'll never disown me. That means he'll never divorce me. I'll be your wife, but at the end of the day, when the going gets tough, always just remember, you know what? I'm with this person. It will never end. That's what calms you down. That's what makes you understand the problems and hear whatever it is that the issue is. You look at the issue, you don't look at the person. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how him and I, like you said, in the media space, we look like we've got a toxic relationship, whatnot. It's because we don't have a love language. We don't have a thing out. It's forever, till death do us apart. And I've always told him, because he divorces, he leaves women, whatnot. So I've always lived on the edge. Yauri, if anything happens, he's going to leave. And so you live with that fear. So your partner
I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm okay, my babe. I'm really okay about that. So if your partner doesn't tell you, you are my world, you are my life, and I'll never leave you regardless of whatever. So that's what I think breaks up relationships, because everyone is like, without you, I can do better. The other one says, oh, well, you found me doing better. Let's see. And then there are people who actually don't want to actually sit through thick and thin. There is a wave that you will ride, but the wave collapses towards the sand on the ocean. So how So this is this big wave that you find yourself in. But ride it together, hold each other's hand. In the end, you will find each other, if that is what you want.
Maybe you used the wrong words. Maybe you should have said to him, take me as your child, because your sibling can be 25 years older than you happen to Sello Maake. So you should have said to him, take me as your daughter in this marriage. Hey, maybe none of this mess would be happening. But anyway, let me leave it there. What would you like to say in conclusion? Thank you so much, by the way, for this conversation. I said what I said. It is what it is.
How much are you going to pay me?
For what?
For sitting here.
You must pay yourself. You must pay yourself.
Sit on this
You
seat.
must pay yourself. This is all you. This is all you. You must actually tell me how much are you gonna pay me. Yeah. In conclusion, what would you like to say?
One thing I pride myself with is I've got mentees, young women that I mentor, and I've got this philosophy. You don't know where your life is going to take you. I always tell people that Princess Diana used to be my
role model?
No, not even that. She was someone that I watched tackle life, and she came from nothing. So I actually associate myself with her. By the way, my role model is my grandmother, so that's why I don't use that word. Because in honor of my grandmother, I can never say anyone is my role model. She is a woman I looked up to, possibly. And I saw her get through these things, and she was prim and proper. So in high school, you'd never see me sitting down with boys and doing whatever, because I used to have this thing out of one day, I'm going to be okay, and I would have to have a proper past. That meant even if I go out, you wouldn't find me. Though I had friends who would do that. There was a place called The Rock. I am the only stiff one. They call you stiff.
Yeah.
I was flexible.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what are they doing? But it was a matter of saying, my mom taught me very well. Hore, if you don't respect yourself, no one is going to respect you. And she used to say, because my cousins would say, what's about Rifitla Pating? Because my nickname is Kesol. These guys, they will overlook everyone and they'll look Hosolo. And my mom said to her, I won't say the word. Are men actually, they work like bees. Hababona honey. They actually go to it. And she was like to me, if you think how can I parting, you are the one that people speak with first or attend to. Then you must know there's an aura you are giving to make men believe you are the easiest one. Ever since that day, I held myself, because how I walk into a room, I walk in like this, because prim and proper is what I try to do, right? So I then had to, maybe 5, I would always be the one at the back, because my mom lived in my head, Kaore, as young, you know what I'm saying? So that means, bees will be attracted to honey. Honey doesn't speak, whatever it is, right? But all my mentees, I tell them, hore, always know where you are going is going to be greater than where you are. And that's why I don't have a sex tape. I don't have pictures of Miki Paramita Fole, whatnot, because and another thing is I usually say to them, where you work, even if your boss tries to do advances to you, don't agree, because if you keep on, I don't want to use the words, right? Honestly. Getting positions on your back, right? Laying on your back. You one time
slipping your way to the top. It is what it is.
Oh, well, you can say it. I don't want to say it.
Okay, I'm saying it.
So
I'm not referring to anyone.
Yes. So the thing is, I usually say, imagine you've done it with 17 guys. One day you go for a job interview to be a board member, which is years later. You find maybe 3 men you've laid your back on with them. Ne? And then there's maybe 2 other people. How are you going to actually be able to conduct yourself in that interview? So to not set yourself for traps that are going to happen in the future that you don't foresee right now. So that is what I stand for. I'm for rather eat papa ka metsi. I mean, I grew up kita papa ka metsi, not papa ka metsi per se, but papa ka I don't know. No, ka spice. You know, you can actually cook pap.
Okay.
Okay, spice le oil. It becomes actually a meal. Yeah. And then I grew up, my mama gonna pair cabbage. In 1 week, would eat it as a semeti, as a tapole, spice, fry it, whatnot. My mom knew how to cook cabbage for the whole week. I mean, I remember one guy that we used to go to school with who stayed in the same street. One time, we were always together because we will study and whatnot. And then he said, tomorrow ke totally spice cabbage. But even when we were eating cabbage, right, we would still also dish up for whoever it is that is in our yard. You know what I'm saying? So my mom taught me the principle of caring and giving. My family, that's why people are actually envious of the relationship that our family bond is, because we come from nothing and all we have is each other. And right now, the world is evolving in its own direction. And like I always say to people, or if I had an uncle who was in whatever corporate or higher level, I would be much more, I'll be far from where I am. But because I had to be the example for my siblings, for my family, the burden is with me. But let me tell you, the way some of them are doing so well, I don't have to be called, you know what, like, because you know what, I wasn't selfish. I helped my family and I empowered my cousins, my younger sisters, and I told them, if you don't learn for yourself, because I've got 2 children, I actually said to my sister, if you don't learn these things that I'm teaching you, should God take me, God forbid, right? I need you to remain here and be able to do what I do with my children. That's why I'm empowering you. My little brother, I say to him, if you don't stand up for yourself, you won't be able to actually take care of your mother, because because you know in the black community,
no, sure,
he's the only boy.
I'm going through that with one of my cousins now.
Exactly my point.
Some idiot who refuses to acknowledge a will that my grandmother left. Justice. Anyway, Osi, I'm gonna cut you short.
A whole me,
motherfucker.
Aye,
Sugarman. Yes. Hey, this boy, he keeps going to my house. He's harassing the people who are renting there. He wants the house. Magistrate, your grandmother's will says she another story for another. I'm gonna have a podcast about this. But anyway, Osi, given everything that I've seen about you and your husband in the media, because this is what this podcast is about. You come here to speak your truth and then we give you solutions, right? Is there anything I can do for you and your husband? Can I offer you guys marriage counseling? So outside of marriage counseling, if anything, by the way, that the media is saying is true at all, because also with tabloids, you never know.
Yeah,
right?
Bad.
But yeah, is there anything that I can do? I'm your friend. I don't want to get involved in people's issues. Right? You are both my friends. I get any dabat alone. I only want to come to your home when you guys are happy. Hallelujah, I get you. Hold me. I get it. I want to see you guys happy. That's all I want for you and your husband. Is there anything I can do to intervene? Can I add value in any way?
I think because you are our mutual friend, you know, you speak truth to him, you speak truth to me. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that in its own, the fact that when there's issues, he's able to reach out to you. When there's issues, I'm able to reach out to you. So I think that is what you do. Maybe you don't actually realize that we appreciate it. I appreciate it with all my heart, because not every friend will tell you the truth or say, you know what, I don't want to be involved in this, but this is what I can do to help. You know, we are individually just taking care of our lives and just making sure that at the end of the day, I told you, what is the end in mind? What is the end goal? Him and I are going to have to find that solution.
Sure.
Because then it's going to be you, there'll be another friend that I call or he calls. Then we've got 10 people giving us advice. If him and I can come and sit together and find a solution,
reach a common ground.
That is
it's one of the most basic rules of marriage. It's one of the most basic solutions of marriage, right? You've got your personality, I've got my personality. We need to reach a common ground on a whole lot of different issues to make things work. I hear you.
So it all starts and ends with us.
With the two of you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you so much for helping with this. Thank you so much for being my publicist. Thank you so much for playing a role that you play in my life, and for the rest of the team in this room here. We truly, truly appreciate you and we love you.
Thank you so much for having me. You're going to give me a hug?
I'm gonna hug you.
Okay.